Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial where I will show you how to build trams in Minecraft. But first, before we start doing the actual tram, I'm going to show you some important things to do with the tram that we have to do first. So over here we have some track. So track is incredibly important, as otherwise the tram would not be able to move anywhere. So this is two examples of some track. So on this side we have andesite version, which looks a lot better, I have to say. I really like the andesite version. And then we've got the stone version, which is the cheaper version, because andesite is hard to come by. And if you can't afford that andesite, just get some of this stone. We've just got some stone bricks, and you want to make the stairs face inward. Okay, but what if we have some of this track, but we have a curve? Well, this is what we'll do. So we're going to do one block outside, and then we're going to have the stairs following that outside. Now, if you don't know how to do curves, this is very simple. Got 5 blocks, 3 blocks, 2 blocks, 1, 1, 1, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 5 blocks. What you want to do is you want to stick to 5, 3, 2, and 1 length bits. I don't know why 4 doesn't seem to work most of the time, but it works on larger scale circles. But this is basically what you want to stick to. 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. If you wanted to do it smaller, you can do some sort of variation on that, but just try it out and see what works. Now we're going to do the actual supports for the overhead wires, because you have to have some realism in there. So these are very simple. What we need is we just need some polished black stone wall, some dark oak fence, which will go up to 5 blocks. And then we'll go back to the polished black stone wall, and then top it off with some polished black stone slabs, which will go along like... I'm messing this up big time. So we want to put a slab, and then we will want to stack this up, going up and curving over the top of this wire. This is where it, of course, holds on to the top of it, and then we finally finish it off down here, and then we have this go back 5 blocks up using the fence, and then top it off with a black stone wall. Now that is a simple support, though you want them maybe about 20 blocks apart, or when there's a corner like this. And actually with the corners, if you're doing one, well, you need some overhead wires not curving, because one mistake I see is people do curved wires when going around corners, which is not realistic. Wires cannot do this, and this is what you have to do instead. And this is why we can't use chains for the overhead wires, because they can't go diagonally, whereas this can. I mean, it's sort of jagged, but we have to do a bit of imagination when we're playing Minecraft in the first place. So now we've done all of that, that should be everything we need to do before actually going onto the tram itself. So let's get onto the tram. So here we have the tram. We'll do a quick overlook of it. We have the front, of course, and then here we have the joining between 2 carriages, and then we have another end. We also have pantographs in the middle, and we'll get onto them later, but we're going to start with the front. So with this, you want to have a curved or flat front. That is the most common thing for trams, currently that is. Though I'd suggest going for a curved front, because one, it looks more modern, maybe more futuristic, if you think about it like that. And it's just, it looks cooler, so go for a cool looking tram rather than a boring flat fronted one, unless you're doing actually a realistic build of an actual place which has flat fronted trams, but flat fronts should be fairly easy anyway. But you want to have this sort of curved stuff with the glass. Now, if I got rid of these, it really doesn't look good. You can see there the black stained glass is necessary to make this work. It shows, one, it's curved, so it goes round, and although you may not like it, I mean, if you're from ground level, it looks fine. If you're a bit above, it might not look as good, but I mean, it's Minecraft. We can't make everything perfect. What we've got here is also a curved underneath going to the front. So this is what we have here with this stair going like that. So that is the front, basically. But now we're going to move on to the pantograph, which is very, very simple again. So what we have here is 3 blocks, like that, and these are polished black stone walls. And you want to start with that, no joins, and you want to then join this up like that. And that is the first connection between, which is for stabilization. Now we want to continue to the next, and we're going to do it like the bottom, but we're going to join here. Get 2 polished black stone slabs, like so, and then get some iron bars, and they'll go along like that. And that is basically the pantograph. So the reason why we don't want to do sort of, I don't know how to describe them, but sort of Z or Z shape pantographs. Main reason with trams, they do sometimes have them, but with this actual model that I've used, the tram, it looks like an express train when I do that. It looks like some sort of long distance intercity train, and it doesn't look right as a tram. If you're finding that problem with your own tram, make sure you're having this pantograph, because it will sort that out instantly, because this looks much more like a tram. So we've gone over the pantograph, now time to go onto the wall. So this is one simple wall between 2 doors, which, I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory, but there's one thing you can do, which is, if you want to, put some black stained glass, make it 2 tall for your windows instead of 1 tall. And this will mean that it will, mean that it's actually more realistic, it looks more like a tram, because more trams have this rather than sort of slit windows, and also it will look more, or sort of less like an intercity train and more like a tram and public transport, or local public transport. But yeah, also the other thing is the livery, which is this sort of colour on there, and that's basically all models of trains usually start just being completely grey or white. Well, the body of it, and they have to get painted in the colours of that company that own the tram. So to add this, you want to use some colour like that, and I suggest doing some sort of fairly dull blocks, not going for bright colours like concrete or wool, but going for terracotta, because this will, 1, look slightly more realistic, like it's maybe been slightly worn down, and I mean, it will look better. And also, one thing, it's a good idea to use stripped wood, because then you can use the same wood for seating inside. Now we're going to look at the doors very quickly, because what we've got here is this quartz pillar, black stained glass. And actually, one thing with the windows, if you're wondering why we're using glass like this instead of panes, there's a very simple reason, and that's because the glass is on the outside. It doesn't go in, it's with the wall, so don't make that mistake and put stained glass. But anyway, back to the doors. Quartz pillar, black stained glass, like that. And these are buttons for opening the doors. So you'll quite often find these on trams, but I mean, quite a lot of them are automated doors now, so you may just want to ignore that and not bother if you think it looks ugly. But finally, we're going to move on to the wheels, which, very simple. This shows you exactly what I put here. As you can see, we've got 2 trapdoors and a sign on top of a polished black stone wall and polished black stone, which makes a really nice wheel design. And if you're wondering why we have trapdoors here, this is just some covering for the wheels to hide the wheels. I don't know really why trams do this. Maybe it's just to make the tram look nicer. But some trams even just hide the wheels completely, which is quite cool. It looks like it's just drifting along the road. So if you want to have that in, then that's good. And that is practically all for this tram, except from one thing with the roof, which is white carpet. We've used that just to add a little bit of extra shape to it. Now the rest of the tram, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just have a look at what I've done, which you can see by re-watching this. But one thing I'm going to go over is actually what's inside the control room. So I just realised I had these completely wrong way round, but anyway, we're going to have a look. So we've got the lever here, we've got throttle, which is basically a repeater, and then we've got a button for something. But I'm going to explain each one of them. So throttle is basically, say, the further you move it up there, the more it's going to accelerate up to a certain speed. And it's basically the sort of accelerator, but it is like an accelerator pedal on a car, but it's sort of also not. I don't really know how to explain it, just look it up yourself. It's similar, but it's not. And then this is the reversing lever, so that's for forward, that's for backward, and then this is just some random button for something. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, so that is my Tram tutorial. If you found it useful, please hit that like and subscribe button. I do tutorials usually every week on the same day this is released, which is Wednesday. And actually, if you have any ideas for tutorials for me to do tell me, as I'm happy to give them a go. But finally, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.